It's weeks like this I hate being Monday. The truth of the matter is, I have no idea what I would name my character. But what I do know is I would make a villain, because I love villains. Now, in my experience, there are kind of two different types of villains in anime. There is the ultimately pure evil villain, like Hamdo from Now and Then Here and There, or for the most part Naraku from Inuyasha, or like Aizen from Bleach, and all kinds of villains like that. Or there is the kind of villain that is completely redeemable, like Richard Vincent in The Soul Taker, or Treize Kushranada in Gundam Wing. They're not necessarily bad guys or villains, they happen to be antagonists, but they're not exactly evil. And they're not really technically misunderstood either. They're more or less just a different side. And there are some people who could follow that side. It's kind of like that whole notion of Team L or Team Kira in Death Note. You know, in my point of view, L is the villain and Kira is the hero. But in a lot of other point of views, L is the hero and Kira is the villain. Or Nier is the hero and Kira is the villain. That one was for you, Sega Kid. And to be honest, that's the kind of villain that I like. I like the villain where you really can't tell who is the villain and who is the hero. Gundam Wing is a prime example of that, considering there really are no good guys and really no bad guys, considering how many times people just kind of jump from one side to the other, and how many things change within the course of that time, you know, with the colonies. But I'm not going to get into that because this is specifically about creating your own villain or hero. So my villain, I would base my villain very much off of Treize from Gundam Wing, I think. I would probably have a villain that is mean, or definitely somebody that you don't necessarily want to cheer for, because knowing me, I would kill off my villain in the end, because I like when characters that I like die. There's seriously something wrong with my brain. But I would also like to have it kind of like Higurashi, where that one is really hard to say because you don't know throughout the entire thing who the villain really is. And you're kind of led on to believe it's somebody, then the very next chapter you're led on to believe it's somebody else, and then the very next chapter you're led on to believe it's completely somebody else, and then, but throughout the entire thing, you know, one thing remains the same, and I'm not going to give that away because I know there are some people who have not seen Kai or Rei like I have, and so I'm going to leave it there. I like it when things are very, very gray. I don't necessarily like it when things are black and white. Villain, hero. There you go. I like kind of making up my own mind on who is the hero and who is the villain. And I like it when things change, like the hero and the villain kind of team up for a little while, which happens in one of the animes that I really, really like. That is, if you take the actual essence of the villain and the hero as the two characters that exist in the series. I don't know, that's a little more complicated. So yeah, my villain would definitely be the kind of villain who just is another side, just another member of society who happens to not be on the same side as the hero, but not exactly a bad guy. Maybe a less likable character. I don't know. I like Treize, but a lot of people find him completely unlikable. Could be his misogyny, considering he uses Un's love for her against her, but you know, whatever. Yeah, so that's what I would do. I would base it more off of Treize, Kushranada, or Richard Vincent from like The Soul Taker. I like those two characters because they're villains, but they're not evil, which makes it a little more complicated, makes it a little harder to know who to trust in the series. And I think that right there has the potential for a great series. And I would name him Cosmo. Cosmo is a villain.